Okay, before we can take these beads off the skewer, we have to give them a finish. Now, I showed in the tools and supplies video that I use high gloss floor finish. I buy it by the gallon at a big box store, probably Costco in this case. And it goes on milky and it dries clear. I found that it doesn't tend to yellow as much as Future Floor finish does. And if you're wondering why I use a floor finish rather than something like Flecto Varathane, I live in my workspace and I share my living space with other people. And if I use something smelly, like Varathane or do oil paints or stuff like that, there will be a riot that will ensue. Okay, I'm just moving this out of frame just for a second. What I'm going to show you next is it's going to look really crappy, but you know, hey, the price is right. Okay, this is, bring this up a little bit. This is just a banker's box lid, see, that I filled with aluminum foil. And after these have been, a finish has been put on them, then I just sort of jam them in here and let them dry. And this is another Entenmann's. This is called Glamour on a Budget. Okay, this is another Entenmann's cake pan that I love to use. I don't have any holes on it like I do when I'm I put, oh, this is a chop and toss, tongues of fire, yay. Okay, this Entenmann cake pan and many others have holes in them where I put skewers that go by so I can put beads like this so they can cure, you see, without touching anything, right? I leave a couple of them without holes because I'm going to pour, here we go, I'm going to pour the finish. What would be the best way to do this? Okay. I'm going to pour the finish in here, and this is why I call this video That Oh Finish. People say, oh, my paintbrush leaves streaks on the finish on my items. What to do? So, well, I would say don't use the damn paintbrush. I just dunk my skewer in the That Oh Finish. You know, give it a, like this to get the excess, and then I just stick it in the foil. Yeah, I don't, this is how you can get a whole bunch of beads, give them a finish, and the gravity will just, you know, whoop. Now sometimes I can see where there's still some dust left over from the finish. I just got hair in here. This is great. Okay. If you see that some of your wet sanding dust is still on the item, sometimes you got to give it a splash if it doesn't go in there. Okay, there we go. So after I get these dunked and stuck on this aluminum foil drip drying tray, they'll be ready to go back into the oven at 275 degrees Fahrenheit or 130 degrees centigrade for only 5 minutes. And Whoops. That's just to get them soft enough to get them off of the skewer. And I found something that might work, and I'm just going to try it out in taking the heated beads off the skewer. These are some like cloth gloves. They're just like little worker gloves. I'm going to try that because, you know, I could use my hot pad gloves from the kitchen, but I'd rather not. You know, I'd like to keep my kitchen stuff and my clay stuff separate. Now, if you would rather use Flectovarethane because you have a studio that has a venting system and you can keep the fumes under control and you're not inhaling heck of fumes, you can still do the vat, you know, dunk the beads into a vat. Now, I don't know how Flectovarethane works in reheating the skewers in order to get them off of the, you know, reheating the beads in order to get them off the skewers. Now, some people say, well, why do you only use floor finish? And I'm saying, well, not only because Flectovarethane is kind of fumy, and I live in a small space with people, but I feel a little trepidatious about putting the beads back in the oven after having something that's fumy, because it sort of like makes me think, oh, it's gonna combust. Oh, yikes. And also, I sort of made a promise to the visitors of my website and my claymates that the products that I'm going to use will be products that you can find at the supermarket, at your local hardware store, and that they wouldn't be things that you had to spend a whole lot of money on, because I assume that everybody is as broke as the 10 Commandments. You know, like Abe Lincoln said, God must have loved the common man because he made so many of them. So, and I include myself in that group. I don't have a whole lot of money to buy expensive peripheral supplies, so my tutorials will not use them unless they were given to me. Sometimes, like I have a girlfriend who worked in the cosmetic industry, and she gave me a whole bunch of these powders, which I still have to finish off the powder section on my website, but I couldn't afford to buy those things. Okay, so this is how I finish my beads, and look, it's less than 10 minutes, and we got like heck of beads. Okie dokie.